Queen, have you ever considered taking Ozempic for weight loss purposes? If so, today's video is for you. So if you are not new to our sisterhood, hey sis, if you are new, welcome to our YouTube sisterhood family. My name is Rhonda Robinson, also known as the Busy Queens Body Makeover Specialist. And what I do is I help busy queens all around the world, just like you, eliminate their belly and their body fat, and also heal from your conditions around your busy schedule. And today, my sister, we are going to talk about a very popular topic amongst us busy queens. Is Ozempic a good weight loss drug for you to take? Let's get it. So before we begin today's topic, okay, allow me to make this disclaimer to you, Queen. I have never taken Ozempic, nor will I ever take Ozempic, right? But I found it very, very important to bring this topic to you because as a fitness coach that has coached women all around the world, I have heard, should I take Ozempic? How is Ozempic? Will this work for me? And I've also heard of some side effects, things that you normally don't hear on the market. And as your coach, I find it very important that you get, as I always tell you on this channel, the real and the raw truth of what is truly on the market when it comes to weight loss for you as a busy queen. So make sure you tune in, make sure you listen to what I'm saying, because anybody that knows me knows I do my research. I'm a former educator over 20 years, and I have some knowledge that is truly going to help you make the right decision for you today regarding if Ozempic is right for you. Let's jump into today's topic. Not too long ago when I was on a me-cation, right? And if you don't know what a me-cation is, okay, me-cation is when I get tired of myself, right? Away from the hubby, away from the kids. When I was on a me-cation about 12 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock in the morning, right? 12 a.m. A show came on CBS, okay? And it was called Big Shot, the Ozempic Revolution. Now, I had actually seen this show prior, but life was busy, you know, and I was like, wow, I really want to watch this show to get the right information about this drug, right? And I never had a chance to do it. So when I saw that come on, even though it was my time, I stayed up for over an hour, and I was so intrigued with the things that I learned. And majority of the things that I'm going to talk to you about on today are things that I got off of that show. I'm going to tell you what that show is again, okay? It's CNBC, okay? And I don't know what I said before, but it was on CNBC, and it's called Big Shot, the Ozempic Revolution. So you may want to go check it out for yourself if taking Ozempic is something that you think you may want to do for weight loss. Now, notice what I said. This video is focused on those of you who are desiring to take Ozempic for weight loss purposes only. Ozempic is a drug that's used for diabetes, right? It's used for pre-diabetes and things. I'm personally not focusing on that. If you would like to still watch this video, by all means, come on, because you're going to learn, right? You're going to learn either way. But what I am referring to today is for those of you specifically who are not pre-diabetic, are not diabetic, right? And who want to take it as a form of weight loss only. That is who I really want to speak to today. So the first thing I need for you to know about Ozempic, okay, is Ozempic is a lifelong commitment, okay? Taking Ozempic is a lifelong commitment. Within the video, the episode, right, that I watched, The Big Shot, it started off with a family. Okay, and there was a mother and there was a daughter. There was also a husband, right? But for this particular example, I want to just talk about the mother and the daughter, okay? Their names were Shannon and Faith, okay? Shannon and Faith. But prior to taking Ozempic, because they took Ozempic, right? There was a study on them. They had surgery, okay, bariatric surgery, and they had other things going on with their bodies. But this is the one thing I want you to understand. They pay about $1,000 to $1,400 a month out of pocket for this drug, okay? Every year, it's about $12,000 for them to pay, all right? Understand, my sister, this drug is a lifelong commitment. When you start it, you must continue it. What if your insurance, say if you get it through insurance, you know, through some way, what if eventually your insurance can no longer cover it, right? Are you prepared to pay $12,000 every year, $1,000 to $1,400 a month just to maintain what you could have done naturally.
For mine, that's $12,000 price tag a year. Mine's $12,000 a year. That's 24.
These women were paying this out of pocket. And obviously, they were well off to do financially, so they were able to do that, right? But think about this. If this is a lifelong commitment, this does not just apply to now. This applies 3 decades from now, 5 decades from now, etc., etc. Will you have the financial means to continue to pay for those things out of pocket to keep up with what you started on Ozempic? Think about that. All right, Queen. So as you can see, Ozempic has both a cost literally, right? But understand there also is a cost figuratively, okay? Inside of The Big Shot, okay, the video that I watched, the movie, they talked about the family that I told you about, but they specifically talked about John, who was the father. And John talked about the fact that when he was on Ozempic, he had some side effects that I could tell in his face pained his heart. Now, John did not just have an obesity issue. He also was diabetic. He also had heart problems as well, okay? And he had also had bariatric surgery, right? The whole family had bariatric surgery. But the one thing that he talked about that was a side effect that he really did not like, okay, from his perspective, was even though Ozempic is a GLP-1 drug, so that drug will help to keep you full, right? It will help you lose your appetite. It's a GL1P drug. He talked about the fact that when he ate, his food lost its taste, right? Let me ask you this. Imagine eating your favorite food and imagine not tasting it. Right? Now, I personally, I love Olive Garden, right? I'm an Olive Garden girl, right? I like many restaurants, but I love Olive Garden. Imagine going to your favorite restaurant and not being able to eat your favorite food, right? And taste it, right? You eat it, but you can't taste it. And that would even be more frustrating, right? Not being able to taste it. So that's one of the things he talked about. He specifically talked about eating a turkey sandwich. I guess John must love turkey sandwiches. But he ate a turkey sandwich, and he was like, I just couldn't taste it. And it was so frustrating to me. So that is one of the side effects of Ozempic. So along with John, okay, the video also talked about Faith, who was the daughter. She was older now, right? But she had bariatric surgery as well. She had gained back most of her weight, right? Which happens often when you get that type of surgery if you're not in, a calorie deficit and keeping up with things. But when she was on Ozempic, she actually started to have gastrointestinal issues, okay? And that deals with your GI tract, right? The swallowing of food, your mouth, your esophagus, all that. So that was a side effect that she had. But of course, anyone who truly knows me and knows the educator that I am and knows that I love knowledge, I couldn't just stop there, right? We know that when we see drugs on the market, definitely when we see the commercials, half the commercials about the side effects. So I said to myself, let me just do a little bit more research and really just look at what are some of the side effects that do come with taking Ozempic beyond what John experienced and beyond what Faith experienced. And I'm going to be honest with you, I could spend the next 10 minutes going over some of the side effects, but I'm going to give you a few on today, okay? Constipation, diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, fatigue, headaches, dizziness, breathing problems, having an allergic reaction, abdominal pain, hypoglycemia. Now, this hypoglycemia is if you use insulin or other diabetes medicines with it. So that was specifically for those of you who may have diabetes, okay? Hypoglycemia specifically is low blood sugar, okay? Heartburn, gallstones, even thyroid cancer. And guess what? I could have stayed there and wrote down that list, right? That was not even half of what was on the list. So my sisters, please just be aware of the things that you're putting into your body when it comes to Ozempic before you do it, and the side effects that you could literally be living with for the rest of your life because you don't want to do it naturally. All right, Queens. So understand, we're not done yet. Actually, the third tip that I have for you is one of the most profound to me that just blew my mind. So make sure you watch this video to the end. But at this point, right, you may be wondering, okay, Rhonda, I understand what you're saying about Ozempic, but as a busy queen, I've tried everything I can. I just don't have the time. This seems like the only way out, okay? If that is you, or if you are looking for an alternative, a natural way, a sustainable way to be able to do this with the foods that God has given us, right? In the way that He prefers outside of medication, I invite you to look down in my description under my Get Snatched for the Summer site, because in that site, you will find free and very low cost resources that will help you truly reach your weight loss goals, lose inches around that waist, and truly heal from your conditions this summer. My team and I have created this site just for you so that you can truly get to your goals quicker in a way that will keep them off for good, keep that weight off for good, all right? So let's get back to the third and final thing that I want to tell you today that I discovered about Ozempic that literally blew my mind. All right, Queen, so this is the final tip that I discovered about Ozempic from watching The Big Shot that literally blew my mind. And I have notes here because I want to make sure that I get this specifically correct, okay? So this is exactly how I'm going to put it out there, right? Not all weight loss Ozempic drugs are created equal, okay? Not all weight loss Ozempic drugs are created equal. Allow me to explain. The Big Shot video actually went over the beginning of, how Ozempic was made, where it's made. It gave the history. That's why if you truly, truly, truly want the background, I really highly encourage you to go watch that video. But one of the things that it truly stressed was that because Ozempic has basically blown up, right? There is an actual shortage of this weight loss drug. They're making more, they're doing the best they can, but there is an actual shortage of this drug. Faith talked about, the daughter, talked about in the video, she's married now, like I said, she's a little older. She talked about how she often, her and her husband, often have anxiety because they don't even know if the drug will be available, okay, month by month when they have to get it. So what has happened over the course of time is that because Ozempic is in a shortage, companies have made other drugs that are not equivalent to Ozempic, but they will tell you it is equivalent to Ozempic, right? And these drugs are actually a form of compounding. So compounding is where you take maybe a little bit of the active ingredient of Ozempic and you put other types of ingredients in them, right? Some of them you may know what they are, some of them you may not know what they are, right? But then they become a compound drug. The market is not telling you this, right? Specifically, there is a drug on the market called compounded semaglutide. One of the things I want you to know about compound semaglutide, okay? This particular drug does not have preservatives inside of it. For example, compound semaglutide is being sold on the market for $300 a month versus, what did I tell you Ozempic was being sold for? About $1,400 a month. So if you are trying your best to get Ozempic, right? You find out the insurance doesn't cover it because you don't want to use it necessarily for diabetes, but you want to use it just to lose weight. You may come across a drug called compound semaglutide that is marketed perfectly. We are an equivalent to Ozempic. We have the same effects. And guess what? We're not $1,000 a month. We're not $1,400 a month. We're only $300 a month. Well, there's a reason why. It's because they have an active ingredient in that may or may not be Ozempic, okay? And this particular drug does not have any preservatives in it, which means over time, it will get bacteria in it, okay? Ozempic, other drugs, they have preservatives in them. This drug may or may not have bacteria in it, all right? This drug has not been approved by the FDA. This drug necessarily doesn't have the right active Ozempic ingredient in it to truly give you the benefits of what it should. Now, remember, Ozempic it's low, right? So if it's already low, how are we making other drugs if there is already a shortage, okay? So you need to be aware of these things because nowadays you can go on all these different, you can even go on Instagram. I've seen things, even within the Big Shot video, they talked about how one of the reporters went undercover on Instagram to a site that she was literally able to fill out a brief survey. They didn't ask her any questions over the phone, nothing. She literally filled out the survey and they were able to send it to her, but it was not the real Ozempic. My sisters, please, for the love of God, be careful what you're putting inside your body, because one of the things they talked about within this particular series, this movie, was that no one truly knows the long-term effects of Ozempic. But imagine having something like compounded semaglutide that you don't even really know what the world is in it. Is it worth it? Is it worth sacrificing your health when you could truly do this naturally, the right way? So my beautiful sisters, those are some of the main things that I picked up from that video. And I'm going to be honest with you, I came in with a bias anyway, right? Because as a busy queen that has lost over 60 pounds naturally, I discovered on my personal weight loss journey, I didn't take Ozempic, right? But I discovered that the best way at the end of the day is to do it naturally. It always comes back to the root of doing this journey naturally and making sure that you utilize the foods and the things that God has already given you to create sustainable weight loss for the rest of your life. So if that is your goal, queen, I invite you, as I said before, to look down in that description, look under my Get Snatched for the Summer site, and get started in however form or fashion you feel is suitable for you. And of course, I pray that that has helped you make the right decision for you. I pray that you have more knowledge about this topic, because God tells us in the word, my people perish for a lack of knowledge. There's a reason he says that. There's a reason he says that, right? And if you ain't subscribed, sis, what you doing? Subscribe, right? Because I do come on here every single week to give you the real, the raw, and the uncut about what it truly takes as a busy queen to lose weight, heal our bodies, and keep it off naturally, and even heal from your conditions. Because guess what I discovered? It's different for us queens, right? But I got you. All right? Always remember, beautiful, greatness should not just be an option. It must, it should be the only option. And until next week, remember, Jesus, God is great, and you are too. Love you. See you soon. Bye-bye.